Hello again, boys and girls. Welcome to Pleasant Pathways from Poppy. It's our storytelling time. Today, I've picked a real classic for you that is called Winter Days in the Big Woods. And this is actually, if you've ever seen the television program Little House on the Prairie, that's what this one is all about. So the character names are the same. They don't quite look the same as the ones on TV, but it's a very, very good story about how life was many, many years ago when there were some struggles these people had just to get food on the table. Sometimes they didn't know where their next meal was coming from. And they had money, but they didn't have much of it. And they also had a very close family relationship. These are all themes that I believe are important during this time. Clinging close to our families, thinking about the little things in life that mean a lot, and taking advantage of the opportunity to look back and realize just how blessed we are. So I'm going to read for you this morning, Winter Days in the Big Woods, and you think about Little House on the Prairie. And if you have an opportunity, maybe you can find an episode or two on TV that you can watch. These are very heartwarming and very good moral lessons that are going along with these stories. Okay, so here we go. There's little Laura. All right. Once upon a time, a little girl named Laura lived in the big woods of Wisconsin in a little house made of logs. Don't see many log cabins, do you? Remember the name of the president that grew up in a log cabin? Abe Lincoln. Laura lived in a little house with her pa, her ma, her big sister Mary, her baby sister Carrie, and their good old bulldog named Jack. As you look at all these pictures, keep in mind that even though these people don't have much of the things of life, they all seem so very happy. Let's wonder why they might be so very happy. Winter was coming to the big woods. Soon the little house would be covered with snow. Pa went hunting every day so that they would have meat during the long, cold winter. His powder horn around him, got his shotgun thrown over his shoulder, and a coonskin cap keep him warm. And the ladies stay at home. Ma, Laura, and Mary gathered potatoes and carrots and beets and turnips, cabbages and onions and peppers and pumpkins from the garden next to the little house. And again, don't they look so happy in their work? By the time winter came, the little house was full of good things to eat. Laura and Mary thought the attic was a lovely place to play. They played house by using the round orange pumpkins as tables and chairs, and everything was snug and cozy. These guys didn't have video games to play. They found their own toys and made good use of them, didn't they? All the things that God had provided for them, they made useful toys and things to keep them busy and occupied in a very, very positive way. Soon the first snow came, and it was very cold. In the mornings, the windows were covered with beautiful frost pictures of trees and flowers and fairies. Ma said that Jack Frost came in the night and made the pictures while everyone was asleep. Laura and Mary were allowed to use Ma's thimble to make pretty patterns of circles in the frost. We also use the word simplify sometimes. These people have learned how to truly simplify their lives, haven't they? In the mornings, Laura and Mary helped Ma wash the dishes and make the beds. After this was done, Ma began the work that belonged to that day. Each day had its own proper work. Ma would say, wash on Monday, iron on Tuesday, mend on Wednesday, churn on Thursday, clean on Friday, bake on Saturday, and, what do you think? Rest on Sunday, the Lord's Day. Now, you kids keep in mind how much these little girls are helping their mom in all the daily chores that are going on there. Churning butter. Don't see that much anymore, do you? Laura liked the churning and baking days best of all. Ma had to churn the cream for a long time until it turned into butter. Mary could sometimes churn while Ma rested, but Laura was too little. It took a lot of strength and energy and endurance to do that. So Mary had to do that job. On Saturdays, when Ma made the bread, Laura and Mary each had a little piece of dough to make into a little loaf. Ma even gave them a bit of cookie dough to make little cookies. Looks like fun, doesn't it? After the day's work was done, Ma would sometimes cut out paper dolls for Laura and Mary. She drew their faces on with a pencil and cut dresses, hats, and ribbons out of colored paper so that Mary and Laura could dress their dolls beautifully. I remember many years ago when my sisters had paper dolls. Maybe your moms and dads and grandmothers and grandfathers can remember that too. Pa is back. Best time of all was at night when Pa came home. He would throw off his fur cap and coat and mittens and call, "Where's my little half pint of sweet cider, half drunk up?" That was Laura because she was so small. You remember on the show Little House on the Prairie, Charles Ingalls, the father, always referred to Laura as half pint. She didn't like that when she got older, but it was a nice little nickname that stuck with her through her childhood days. Sometimes Pa would take down his fiddle and sing. Pa would keep time with his foot. Laura and Mary would clap their hands to the music when he sang. Yankee Doodle went to town, he wore his striped trousers, he swore he couldn't see the town, there were so many houses. Little Carrie in the cradle there, she even enjoys it. And Jack is howling while Charles is playing the fiddle. Other times, Pa would tell stories. When Laura and Mary begged him for a story, he would take them on his knees and tickle their faces with his long whiskers until they laughed out loud. His eyes were blue and merry. Look at these 5 people and look at the smiles etched on their faces. I mentioned that to you again. And look at those tools hanging on the wall. Every one of them useful for something. This is a very organized household, and they work so very hard. And they have so much fun doing it. Great example for us in this world we're living in today. Sometimes we think we have to be entertained all the time, don't we? Instead of having to look for things to have fun with. Big roaring fire. Outside it was cold and snowy, but the little log cabin was snug and cozy. Pa, Ma, Laura, Mary, and baby Carrie were comfortable and happy in their little house in the big woods. Now, doesn't that look like one big happy family right there? Yes, it does. You see the view of the little house on the prairie from the outside as we finish our story today. And a quick peek at the inside before we leave the little house. Great messages today from the little house on the prairie. Simplicity. Simplify your lives. Boil it down to the very basics of life. You'll have fun if you just go looking for stuff that you can do that maybe you haven't thought of before. So take a message from Pa, Ma, Laura, Mary, Carrie, maybe even Jack, about the simple lives that these folks lived winter days in the big woods. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday with Pleasant Pathways from Poppy one more time.